Kevin. As consciousness gradually returns to me, I slowly open my eyes and see a dark room. It took a little time to realize where I was. Trying to remove the blanket from my legs, I brush someone nearby and whisper, "I'm sorry." I sit down and slide onto the edge of the bed. My head is pounding. Crap. Denise didn't come on this trip. I quickly turn around and look. Exactly, on the pillow next to me lies disheveled blonde hair, and it clearly does not belong to my brunette wife. Crap. As if through a dense fog, memories begin to return to me. I'm in Texas, and we were celebrating the successful launch of a new product line. After a long day at the factory, we went to a bar near the hotel where we drank and danced to our heart's content. I vaguely remember talking to the blonde. But who is she? I look again at the face of the woman lying in bed with me, and suddenly I remember. Exactly, Jaden, something from our office in California. She is a materials specialist who helped us set up the supply chain for this project. We talked, danced, and drank together. She was nice, but I wouldn't cheat on my wife with her. Or changed. I'm already standing, completely naked, and watching as the blonde begins to wake up. Damn, she's damn attractive. Flashes through my head, and I immediately pull myself together. She throws back the blanket, exposing her body, and I see that she is also naked. This is very bad. "Hello, handsome. Why are you up so early?" she says sleepily, trying to focus on my silhouette in the dark. "Damn, Jaden, what did we do last night?" "Exactly this." She smiles and pats the bed next to her. "Come back. Let's continue from where we left off." "I can't. I am married. So what?" "Me too." "That didn't stop you last night, lover." Her answer is straightforward and devoid of regret. "Jaden, you need to leave here immediately. We shouldn't be caught." I am seized with panic. The fear of the consequences is growing. Of my wife, team, company. No one should find out that I slept with another woman, especially a co-worker. To hell with it, let's take a shower first. "No, Jaden, you must leave right now." I hastily pick up her clothes and fold them on the table. I pull up my pants myself, covering my nakedness. When she doesn't move, I take her clothes and hand them to her, but she just looks at me. I pick her up and start dressing her myself. Ignoring her underwear, I roughly pull her pants on. "Stop it," she says sharply. "Okay, idiot, I'll do it myself. Just stop." I step back, watching as she struggles to button her blouse. I start walking around the room, turning on the lights, hoping to finally kill any thoughts of a repeat of last night. Soon she is fully dressed. "Where is my bag?" I find it on the floor and hand it to her, leading her to the door. "Well, I'd say it was fun, but..." She huffs as she walks out, and I lock the door behind her. I start pacing back and forth across the room again. Damn, damn, damn. All I can think about is what a huge mess I've made of my life. My head hurts even more by the time I get to the bathroom and turn on the shower. Warm water hits the top of your head, running down your face and neck. I lower myself onto the wall, but the cold tiles force me to retreat back under the stream of water. I've never done anything like this before. What the hell was I thinking? What should I do now? Suddenly, my stomach tightens, and I fall to my knees, vomiting. I watch the bile flow down the drain, just like my life is now. I'm not sure if it's the drink or the realization of what I've done. My body seems to reject this whole situation. Finally, I get up and wash off the residue. I need to move on. Today, I'm flying home. Tonight, I will see my wife, to whom I have been married for 9 years. How can I look her in the eye? How will I look our children in the eyes? Damn, James and Kelly will never understand this. How to explain to a 6-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter that dad got drunk and ruined everything. I'm throwing up again. Despite the Tylenol, my head continues to pound, and I have a hard time focusing on getting dressed and packing. Before leaving the room, I almost automatically pull out a bottle of water from the minibar, hoping that it will calm the storm in my stomach. From the moment I step out of my hotel room, I'm on autopilot. I somehow manage to check out without too much trouble, focusing only on avoiding the other team members, especially Jaden. I'm not at all ready to see her or anyone else at the moment. On the way out of the hotel, waiting for the car, I wipe the sweat from my forehead and try to convince myself that I managed to get out of this situation unnoticed. I can't stand still on the street. I walk up and down the sidewalk, nervously clasping and unclenching my hands until I see an Uber approaching. I finish the bottle of water and throw it in the trash when my ride stops. Another damn Prius. Already regretting drinking the water, I can feel it bubbling and swirling in my stomach. I get into the car. What a lousy day. Uber takes me to the airport, and after going through all the security checks, I realize that there is still plenty of time before my flight. Sitting at my exit, I decide to call my mother. Since my father died when I was 19, my mother has been my mentor, advisor, and close friend. She will be able to give me good advice. "Good morning, dear," she answers cheerfully. "Morning." I'm sure she immediately senses that something is wrong. I rarely lie to her, and I don't have the strength to start right now. I start the conversation before she can ask questions. "I have a hangover, Mom." "Oh, honey," she laughs softly. "I did something really stupid. I really ruined everything." "What's happened?" Seriousness and anxiety immediately appear in her voice. She probably already knows what I did. My stomach does somersaults as I work up the courage to admit my wrongdoings. Luckily, I've only drank water so far. I'm not sure I can contain anything else. "I got drunk, and, I begin to stammer, only to quickly blurt out, "I woke up with another woman in my bed." Oh my God. Her short answer reflected all my fear, doubt, and disappointment. She doesn't ask questions or reproach me. We just sit silently, listening to each other's breathing. Denise knows. Not yet. Oh, how can I tell her about this? "I don't know, dear, but you need to tell me." She needs to be given the opportunity to make her own decision. "Are you sure? Maybe I'll just live with it and make amends?" I ask almost pleadingly. I don't want to admit defeat, and I'm afraid of losing my family. "I know you, Kevin. This will torment you inside." Denise will feel that something is wrong, and when it finally comes to light, and it will come out, it will be a disaster. She sighs heavily, clearly not knowing what else to say. If you give her the chance to decide her own fate, you will have a chance to survive. If you hide it from her and lie, then when she finds out, the consequences will be 10 times worse. She's right. She's always right. I don't want it to be so, but I know deep down that her words make sense. I am at a crossroads, and my next actions may determine the rest of my life and the fate of my marriage. We talk for about 30 minutes, during which she scolds me for being stupid, consoles me for being stupid, and sympathizes with me for being stupid. In the end, I agree to tell Denise, but decide to wait until tomorrow so that we have time and energy to deal with the emotions and feelings that are sure to spill out. After I finish talking to my mom, I spend the rest of the time before boarding thinking about how Denise might react. Although she and I have previously discussed situations with famous people or friends who have been caught cheating, and her reactions seemed restrained and neutral, I also know that Denise has a vindictive streak. It scares me. She once said that in college, a friend went on a date with a guy Denise liked. Denise waited a year to take revenge. After finding out that her friend was dating another guy and loved him very much, Denise seduced him, causing them to break up, and then teased her friend, ruining their friendship. This was a year before we met, and she claims she doesn't do that anymore, but what I did is much worse than dating her crush. Dennis. Kevin is coming home tonight. I missed him all week. This week has been terrible. Problems at work, caring for 2 children alone. I arranged for Mom to pick up the kids from daycare today so Kevin and I could have a romantic evening. I crave his touch. I need to feel him next to me today. Since the moment I returned from work, my thoughts have been racing at the speed of light. I imagine his touch, the way he leaves tender kisses. My heart starts beating faster. Oh, the things I plan to do for this man. I ordered Italian takeout and was starting to put it away when I heard a car in the driveway. I light the candles and start pouring the wine. Damn, I need this so much. Kevin. Through the window, I see dim light. I gather my courage and put a fake smile on my face, even as my stomach begins to churn again. On my way out the door, I mentally wish that I could go back 24 hours and make different decisions. She is here at the table, pouring wine. She's so beautiful. At 32, she still inspires me when she smiles at me. She greets me with a kiss, her body pressed against mine, her skin warm to the touch. My face turns red as my body reacts to her caress. We start chatting about her week and my trip, continuing over dinner. I find it difficult to concentrate on a conversation. We both had a few glasses of wine towards the end of dinner. Now she is a little tipsy, and in her eyes there appears that same sparkle that I know so well. She makes all those little seductive gestures that I have learned and loved over the years. She obviously has love on her mind and plans to initiate. She becomes the hunter, and I become her prey. She takes me by the hand and leads me into the living room. I realize that she is specially prepared for this seduction. But as soon as I realize this, guilt overwhelms me. All my desire instantly disappears and I lose excitement. I stand up and step away from her. I, I, I'm sorry. My voice trembles with emotion. I can't be with her now. I can't because of the barrier that stands between us. She must find out the truth. I have to tell her before I go any further. I, I, I made a terrible mistake, Denise. There are tears in my eyes, and I struggle to focus on her, thinking of what to say. She already realized that this was serious. She always knew how to read me, and she already guessed that I had cheated on her. I got drunk. You bastard. I sit down on the coffee table, lowering my head in shame. I want you to say it, she states coldly. I feel her gaze, like laser beams drilling into my soul. I begin. I slept with someone else. My words are barely audible, but to me they sound like screams. She sits, adjusting her shirt to cover her breasts. She glares at me. I raise my head several times, only to immediately lower it again. I feel sick. Now that I have alcohol in my stomach, I'm not sure if I can hold it in. I look up again, watching the emotions change on her face. Fear, hatred, disgust. I lose track of time as we sit in this painful silence. The ticking of a clock sounds like gunshots in my ears. I continue to sit, waiting for the storm that is about to hit. And it collapses. Do you love her? Who is she? Do I know her? How many times? Are you leaving me? Do you want a divorce? Answer me, you stupid bastard. All this comes out of her at once. My head is spinning. I can't keep up with her stream of questions. Finally, I begin to answer, hesitating. No, I don't want a divorce. I will answer all your questions, but please ask them one at a time, I ask you. I feel like a broken man. Everything didn't go as I planned, not the way I wanted to tell her everything. But I couldn't carry it with me anymore. I begin to answer her questions. Who is she? Do I know her? Jaden Morris. She's a materials specialist from California, and no, you don't know her. I just met her in person for the first time this week. So she's so much more beautiful than me that you just couldn't resist. No. The team and I celebrated the launch in a bar. We got drunk, danced, and somehow it happened that she ended up in my room. Like magic, bastard. During all her questions, she oscillates between anger and sadness, spewing venom and tears at me in equal measure. I see how painful my actions are, and this only makes me feel worse. I tell her the whole story, at least the part I remember, the celebration, the drunken sex, and the morning after. We spend several hours discussing the situation, sharing our thoughts and fears. She expresses her disappointment in me. I answered each of her questions honestly, hoping to earn at least some forgiveness, but none came. Her anger only escalates until she eventually retreats to the bedroom. The sound of the door slamming was as if it had shattered into pieces. Dennis. I flinch at how hard the door slammed. I'm furious with my stupid husband, but I didn't plan to express my emotions like that. I start pacing around the room, trying to figure out what to do next. My phone. I need a phone. I need the support of my friends. I frantically rummage through my bag, growing increasingly nervous, until I remember that I left it in the kitchen. I tiptoe out into the hallway to pick up my phone and return to the bedroom. I call my friend Ellen and tell her about the cheating. We cry together and scold men. Ellen is one of my best friends. We've been friends since college. We have shared many broken hearts, joys, and successes with each other. She can be a little eccentric and overly emotional, but I trust her and always seek her advice. I need her support now more than ever. Ellen still hasn't forgiven her ex-husband for leaving her after learning about her infidelity. I assumed she might side with Kevin a little, since she was in the same situation just 18 months ago. She doesn't get up. Her proposed approach makes Sherman's march through Atlanta look like a children's party. She suggests a scorched earth strategy, which I'm not ready for yet. I tell her this, and she changes tactics, insisting that I throw him out of the house so that he realizes his guilt. I have decided that this plan is suitable for now. I get the impression that Kevin is well aware of the gamble he made by telling me what happened, and I saw the understanding of all the consequences on his face as he confessed. He looked as lost as I feel now. Already in the morning, I carefully leave the bedroom to inform Kevin about my decision. I take his suitcase by the handle and walk towards the living room. He's still sitting where I left him, looking depressed. His head rises, his eyes sparkle with hope, but when he sees the suitcase, he instantly loses that shine. Kevin, I didn't move from the coffee table. Not sure how much time has passed. I wince when I hear the bedroom door creak. A disheveled Denise emerges from the corridor. She no longer looks like a seductress. On the contrary, she seems to be overloaded with it all. My suitcase follows her. Kevin, you know I love you, right? Her voice is hoarse from crying, but firm. She is determined. And I hope you know that I still love you, Denise. I need time. Can you stay with your mom this week? Yes, I answered simply. I decided not to explain to her that I already managed to tell my mother about this situation. The children will be with my mother until Sunday evening. I want you to come over every evening after work to have dinner with us, and then go back to your mom. Please don't call me. We'll discuss what we'll do next Saturday. I'll just tell the kids that your mom needs you and you help her. God, I don't even know how to explain this to them. By the time she finishes speaking, she's in tears again. I have no choice but to accept Denise's decision. Now she makes the rules. I know that if I insist, I will only make the situation worse. I nod in agreement, take my suitcase, and leave. Shame and loneliness. Denise. I watch Kevin walk out the door, my broken heart breaking even more as I see the look of shame and disgust on his face. I know he doesn't blame me, he only blames himself. I never sleep well without Kevin in my bed. This week has been terrible, and next week will be even worse. At 9 in the morning, Ellen and Amy knock on the door, bringing coffee and bagels. Amy is my cousin, but we grew up like sisters, and she is my best friend. They go into the kitchen and sit down at the table. Ellen texted Amy this morning to come and support me, but didn't give any details. Over the next 30 minutes, I fill them in on what happened. I see that Ellen has not changed her categorical attitude and still insists on burning everything to the ground. But in Amy's eyes, one can read compassion and sadness. Throw him out. Ellen remains adamant. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And you would know, Amy answers softly, but with weight. I wouldn't take advice from a woman who destroyed her own marriage. He should have fought for me, but he didn't. How could I stay with a man who didn't care enough to give me a second chance? Ellen defends herself. However, Amy replies, you want Denise to throw Kevin out the first time he does something wrong. If I remember correctly, John caught you twice. Don't forget that Kevin himself admitted to cheating. He didn't even sleep with her the next morning. He left her and lasted only 12 hours before he confessed to everything. This doesn't sound like a serial cheater, or for a person who plans to repeat. He could have just hidden it. Amy is clearly on Kevin's side. Amy, I know you've always cared about Kevin, but he broke his vows to me and the kids. How can I trust him again? I complain at the table, although the question is directed more at Amy than at Ellen. How can I cope with despair if he is late at work? How to suppress fears when he goes on business trips. You're divorcing this idiot, Ellen interjects. That's how you guarantee he won't hurt you again. I turn to Ellen with a furrowed brow. Her constant talk about divorce is starting to annoy me. We have 2 children. He is a good father and has been a good husband up to this point. I'm not sure I'm ready to divorce him. Besides, it's not the same as cheating for years, Amy blurts out, glaring at Ellen, hinting at her own divorce due to cheating. He got drunk and screwed up. Unless he's hiding something else, this looks like a real bug. He didn't plan this, it just happened, and he seems willing to give anything to go back and make it right. Amy pauses and continues, he loves you, Denise. Do you think counseling might help you? I'm not sure. Like you said, it was a drunken mistake, and it may have happened for the first time. The question is, can I forgive this? I am completely confused in my feelings and constantly rush between extremes ideas of revenge from Ellen and faith in forgiveness from Amy. He forgave you. Damn it, Amy's memory. Isn't that right? This is different. I didn't sleep with anyone, and we weren't married yet. Maybe, but you just agreed to be exclusive, and then you went on a double date with this one. Amy points to Ellen. I'm starting to think she doesn't think very highly of my other friend. I promised her long before Kevin, and I decided to only date each other. But you didn't mention it to him, did you? Amy pauses to give my thoughts time to process this. And didn't he catch you kissing that guy at the bar? And he forgave you. It wasn't so much kissing as he was pestering me. I was so drunk that I hardly understood anything. I don't find any other excuse. As soon as I said this, I immediately understood where she was going. Her smile gave it all away. Plus, I had to satisfy Go so that he would talk to me again. But he forgave you, right? 6 months later, he even proposed to you. It seems that this has only strengthened your relationship. All. Amy and I jumped at the same time at Ellen's scream. What exactly? We asked in unison. Revenge, Ellen says coldly. Get even. Even the score like he did, forcing you to do everything for him, knowing that you can't stand it. He didn't force me. I did it out of guilt and regret. I thought I owed it to him. Amy glares at Ellen again. I think she understands where she's going with this, although I haven't caught on yet. Are you asking Denise to sleep with one of your vile friends? Not with mine, but with Kevin's friends. No way, I scream at Ellen in shock. How can this even fix everything? This will even the score, make you even. Then you can both move on without him having an advantage over you. Men don't understand how cheating hurts. It will make him remember it forever. Ellen, do you even know Kevin? Amy is already angry. He will never agree to this, and I don't understand how her betrayal can help him. She then looks at me. Denise, this is the most idiotic idea I've ever heard. If your marriage isn't already broken, it will definitely be if you do. Amy, I don't know. It would really make him understand how much I hurt, I reply, even as I think about the idea. It has a certain meaning, and it will definitely teach him a lesson. I'm just not sure I can do it. You're not serious, are you? Amy is trying to reason with me. You don't know this woman, and you'll never meet her. But if you sleep with one of Kevin's friends, everyone will know about it, and you'll ruin his friendship. Maybe not with one of his friends. Maybe one of Ellen's acquaintances, someone he doesn't know and will wonder about for the rest of his life. I like it, Ellen says, smiling. I know one guy. He's a great size and great in bed. I'm not looking for good sex, I just need justice. My desire for retribution is beginning to manifest itself. I hate that Kevin was superior to me on this. But a friend from his company would do it even better. Ellen is clearly winning. This knowledge alone will simply kill him. Why do you hate him so much? Amy is surprised, continuing to defend Kevin. Men in general are scoundrels, even the good ones like Kevin. He needs to be taught a lesson, and it will destroy him, giving Denise the advantage she needs to control the marriage. This is a really bad idea, Denise. Please don't listen to this psychopath. Amy seems to understand that her position is weakening, and Ellen is increasingly winning me over to her side. We discuss the merits and demerits of revenge until lunch. Amy continues to be the voice of reason and Ellen the voice of retribution. As a result, we leave this topic. The girls are about to leave, but nothing has been decided or agreed upon. I feel a little better, but after my friends leave, I feel lonely again. Sunday. The day passes gloomily as I wander around the empty house, reflecting on my life and my current situation. I miss the kids, of course, but most of all, I miss Kevin. Kevin. This weekend is just a nightmare. Mom welcomes me with open arms and lets me mope in her guest room. She doesn't lecture me, knows that I myself am suffering more than she could say. Work becomes a burden. I finish current projects and have a meeting with my boss in the afternoon. I am offered a manager position, which means the end of my travel and an increase in salary. However, I have a hard time finding joy in this news. I don't have a partner nearby to share with, so the joy is bittersweet. That evening, dinner with the children is tense. Denise and I exchange pleasantries and nothing more. Children feel that something is wrong, but they are too young to understand it. The week drags on slowly, but each evening our interactions become a little more relaxed. We even manage to laugh a little. On Wednesday, she tells me that she is not yet ready to take me back, but is already close to it. She appreciates that I don't put pressure on her and thanks me for my help with the kids every evening. This week has been difficult for both of us, but by Friday, Denise is in a better mood. She tells me to take my things when I come to talk to her the next day. The children will be with her mother again for the night, and we will have time to discuss everything. I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I hope it's not an oncoming train. Denise. My mood is improving, and I have a plan. I want to discuss it with Kevin to see how he will react. I take the kids to Mom's and prepare brunch, which is already waiting on the table when Kevin arrives at 10. We eat almost in silence, and then he helps me clean up. Okay, I've figured out how we can move on. I start the conversation when we sit down at the table again. I'm ready to do whatever you want, Denise. I can't express how much I regret everything I've done. Well, I think you'll regret it even more. I hate that you slept with that woman. I also hate that we are no longer equals. He drawls, clearly not understanding where I'm going with this. I think we need to even the score. What does it mean? He's clearly nervous, and for good reason. I think I need a night with another man. Here, I said it, just like you had the night with that. What's her name? He sits and looks at me, with his mouth open and eyes full of horror and amazement. How will this help? An honest question. This will equalize us. We will start with a clean slate. I don't think this will help. How will your betrayal make everything better? How does this equalize us? He doesn't understand the beauty of my plan, but I still finish the explanation. In 2 weeks, I will make an appointment with a man. We'll come back here and sleep. You will stay here and listen. After this, we will recommit ourselves to each other and begin to rebuild our marriage. Kevin. I'm shocked. This is definitely the work of that psychopath Ellen. I don't see how Denise sleeping with another man will help, but we've been discussing it for hours. She does not back down from this absurd plan. By the time we finish talking, it's already dark outside, and I'm completely exhausted from arguing and trying to explain that her idea won't work. In the end, I just don't know where to go. I feel like my marriage is heading towards the abyss. She lets me stay the night, even though sex is out of the question. I'm not sure if I could even if she wanted to. Continue translation. The next morning. I wake up after a sleepless night and call my mom for advice. Mom, she wants to sleep with another man. I pause to let her realize the gravity of what I've said. What? Why? Her voice trembles with surprise. She says it will equalize us, make us even. Whatever that means. Do you think she's serious? Her voice breaks a little. I'm sure she hopes it's just a sick joke. I don't know, Mom. What should I do? There's desperation in my voice. I know she hears it. What do you want for yourself? This is a good question. I don't know what I want. Part of my hope is that Denise isn't crazy enough to think this is a good idea. I hope she's just torturing me into believing she'll do this. I hope she's just messing with me. I hope she understands that this won't make anything better. Maybe you should just wait and see where she goes with this. If she hasn't changed her mind after 2 weeks, talk to her. I don't like the idea of leaving everything in limbo, but I don't know what else to do. We end the conversation without making any concrete decision. Every day after our conversation, Denise and I communicate better and better. We are not back to normal yet, but we are gradually adapting. The theme of her sex for revenge remains hanging in the air, not being completely resolved. Every time I bring this up, Denise dodges the question, which only convinces me more that it's just a threat to keep me at bay. Only time will tell. We sleep in the same bed every night, and every morning I wake up with her arms around me. Dennis, this first week was difficult. Kevin follows my lead in everything and tries his best to please. I avoid talking about my revenge plan, mainly because I'm not sure if I can or should actually do it. Ellen and I discuss this often, and she is full of ideas on how to make this as humiliating as possible for Kevin. Amy, on the other hand, is completely against this plan and is doing everything she can to talk me out of it and convince me to choose a different path. I love having Kevin in my bed again and waking up next to him every morning. We haven't made love yet, but I have a feeling we will soon. It's the obvious next step. Never before in our relationship has Kevin been shy about asking for sex or seducing me. Now he is very timid with me, as if he is not sure whether to take the initiative. But I, on the contrary, am already ready. It's been almost 3 weeks since we last made love, and the fact that he sleeps next to me every night doesn't make it any easier. My self-help sessions help relieve stress, but I'm ready for my husband. I know that if this happens, I will have to take the initiative into my own hands. Halfway through the second week of his return, I decide the time has come. We both drank some wine at the table, and it was my idea to make the process easier. He remains seated as I begin to move toward the bedroom, slowly running my hand over his shoulders as I pass. He turns around and looks at me as if asking, "Is it time yet?" I smile at him, lean down and kiss his lips tenderly. Then I take him by the hand and lead him to our bedroom. He hesitates, almost resists. This is not due to a lack of desire, but because of the fear of disappointing me. Kevin. I stay at the edge of the bed, undressing, all the while looking at my beautiful wife. She looks amazing. Our first lovemaking after a long break turns out to be one of the best we've had in a long time. It's like a dam breaking. We make love several times throughout the weekend, unable to stay away from each other. Our conversations become more filled with sensuality, glances full of love and passion return, and it seems that we are gradually finding our way to each other. Talk about sex for revenge is no longer brought up. I feel like things are really starting to look up. 2 weeks later, our honey week continues. Everything looks good, like we're getting back to normal. But in the evening, when Denise goes to meet her cousin and some friends, everything changes. She returns home around 8. I immediately noticed that she was slightly drunk. My joy at her return does not last long until I notice who is coming in behind her. Following Denise is Mike Killian, one of the distant members of my company. Mike is a real slippery character. He is married, but constantly has affairs with women, only to then leave them without explanation. Denise, what is he doing here? There is a tremor in my voice. We're going to have sex, she replies without any emotion or hesitation. Why the hell are you doing this? I'm stunned. I thought we were already past this stage. Please come here. I drag her into the kitchen, away from Mike. Denise, you're not going to do this seriously, are you? Of course I'm going to. I told you I would do so. How else do we even score? But with him, I can hardly cope with this thought. It was difficult for me to accept her plan before, but now it seems absolutely unbearable. You know how I feel about him. He's disgusting. He will tell everyone, and then he will mock me every time we meet. I know that's why I chose him. She opens the drawer and takes out an envelope, handing it to me. You can either let me do this or sign these divorce papers. The choice is yours. It's not a choice. Either let my wife sleep with this bastard or get a divorce. Are you crazy? I'm losing my temper more and more. This has gone too far. When did you manage to get divorce papers? Yesterday. But I've been working on them for the last 2 weeks. That's why I needed time. Denise, please don't do this. It will destroy us. She just looks at me and gives me a crooked little grin. You don't decide anything here. She turns around and leaves. I see her take Mike's hand and head into the bedroom. Hey, Kevin, I just want to thank you for ruining everything. I've wanted your wife for so long. Mike gloats while I stand there, mouth agape. I promise I won't do anything that she doesn't want to come back to. Fuck you, I roar. Okay then. Don't worry, I'll write it down for you. He picks up the digital recorder, closing the door behind him. I'm lost. Hollywood logic dictates that I should be furious, cursing, screaming, breaking something. Resist the urge to kill them, but common sense prevails. I sat down at the table, looking at the papers she gave me. To say I'm backed into a corner is an understatement. She is literally ruining me in this divorce case. 70% of our assets, house, sole custody of the children, incredible alimony. The only thing she didn't ask for was spousal support. A tear rolls down my nose. After all this, I am losing my wife and my marriage. Why the hell did I confess? I suppress these sounds somewhere deep inside my mind and take out a piece of paper and an envelope before sitting down at the dinner table. I'm writing my future ex-wife a note. Having folded and sealed it in an envelope, I leave it on the table. There's nothing left to fight for. Dennis. This is one of the few times I've lied to Kevin about something important. I told him I was meeting the girls after work for a couple of cocktails, but in reality, I always intended to meet Mike. For 2 weeks, I hesitated whether to implement my revenge plan or not. Ellen whispered in one ear that this was the only way to even the score with Kevin, while Amy was sure that revenge would destroy my marriage. I wanted to hurt Kevin. I wanted to humiliate him. I wanted him to feel as helpless as I do now. I knew he was thinking about Mike. Kevin, like most of his friends, did not like or trust him. He told me stories about Mike trying to hit on other wives. Several times Mike even tried to hit on me. Kevin described their last fishing trip in detail. Mike seduced 2 women over the weekend, all while calling his wife several times a day. Most guys don't like him because of his infidelity. And that's why I chose it. I know he is the person who will hurt Kevin the most. I'm not going to sleep with Mike. We'll just meet at our local bar where we all hang out sometimes. I knew someone would see us, and I hoped that Kevin would get the message. I thought that his own imagination would be inflated by a few cocktails, light flirting and touching to such an extent that it would drive him crazy. But Mike will never come to my house. As they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Hello, beautiful. Wow, you look so gorgeous today, Mike says. I'm dressed for work, although my outfit is a little bolder than usual. Nothing excessive. I'm almost finished with my first drink, so my internal defenses aren't working at full strength, and Mike's greeting sounds more casual than it should be for our relationship. Hi, Mike. I watch him sit down and call the waitress. I'm so glad you called. I'm curious to know why you wanted to meet me here alone. His gaze makes me slightly uneasy, but I continue, making light conversation, pausing only to order and receive our drinks. Kevin slept with someone on his last trip. I'm so nervous that I blurted it out right away. Mike looks at me carefully, analyzing me before answering. Oh, I'm not surprised. He looks around before continuing. This isn't the first time. I am stunned. What? Yes, this is not the first time. For example, on the last fishing trip, he disappeared with some scary old woman right in the parking lot. Do you want another drink? Yes, please. Are you saying he cheated before? I feel my face flush with anger. Are you sure? The way he confessed suggests that it was the first time because he felt so much guilt. Definitely. We all tried to get him to stop. He has the hottest wife out of all of us. The waitress brings me another cocktail, and I quickly drink it. Mike nods to the waitress for more. Perhaps he thought you might somehow find out about it, and decided it would be best to confess. "If you were my wife," he continues, "I would never leave you alone. Honestly, Denise, you deserve someone better than him." As we talk, my inner barriers are slowly crumbling. He tells me about all the women Kevin allegedly slept with. We drink, flirt, dance until the hours disappear unnoticed. Mike continues to play on my insecurities all evening, filling my head with more and more stories about Kevin's infidelities. I'm not sure at what point I decided I was going to sleep with Mike, but the moment it happened, Amy's voice screamed that Mike was lying, pointing out obvious inconsistencies in his stories. I ignore what I know to be lies and continue to ignore Amy's common sense. I let my emotions make decisions for me. Mike and I end up at my house. I tell my husband that I'm going to have sex with another man, and there's nothing he can do about it. Mike has his laptop with him and a small black box that I recognize as a video camera, but my drunk brain doesn't connect that I'm going to do this in front of a camera. He closes the bedroom door and kisses me. My mouth is dry. My skin feels cool and clammy, knowing I'm about to star in a video. Is this what I want? Mike pulls me close to him as he stands in front of the camera. I'm trying to pull away. He holds me too tightly, leans close, and kisses me. My resolve melts and I give in, wrapping my arms around his waist as we pull away from each other. He takes the phone and shows the lock screen in front of the lens. It's 8:24, Friday the 23rd. I'm here with Denise Cupid. Say hi, Denise. Hello, I giggle nervously. I'm already very drunk. I'm rocking while I'm standing. What are we going to do, Denise? We're going to have sex, I answer with obvious slurring of speech. Why are we doing this, Denise? He hissed with a sarcastic and almost contemptuous tone. Because my husband is a cheater, and I need to put him in his place. Can I sign us up, Denise? His smile says it all. He won, and he knows it. Yes. I have lost the battle with common sense and respond only with instincts. Great. This will go straight into my cloud, and I'll show it to Kevin later. That's what you want, right? Yes, show my husband how good his wife is in bed. Amy's voice echoes in my head again, reminding me that I am no better than my husband, but my clouded mind allows my raging emotions and uncontrollable desire to override any vestiges of common sense. I've already come this far. I know that I have no choice anymore, and I obediently carry out his every order. After sex, my consciousness returns to reality. I just let another man take me. I'm starting to panic. Mike, meanwhile, quickly gets ready. This is all, I ask, feeling an inner emptiness, but at the same time some strange hunger. Yeah, I got what I wanted. Now Kevin knows who's boss. I slept with his wife. Don't you want more? I ask, and my voice sounds like I'm a woman of easy virtue asking for more. No, it's time for me to leave before Kevin decides to finish me off. He always said he'd kill me if I ever slept with you, and I'm not going to check to see if he meant it. He won't do anything. He understands why you're here. It's all his fault. Maybe, but I'm still not going to wait to find out. I'll send him a link to the recording so he can see what his wife is like. That'll cool him off. Please don't do this. The fact that he hurt us is enough. Fuck you, Denise. You agreed to it, and now I want to drive him crazy. You're a cruel bastard. Yeah, thanks for the sex. He collects his things and leaves. The bedroom door remains open, and I lie naked on the bed. Reality hits me with inexorable force. I just slept with another man. I understand that nothing will ever be the same again. I'm not sure if Kevin and I are even now, but I do know that things have changed. I lie there for a few minutes, listening, hoping Kevin will come in. But he didn't come. Remorse and shame replace drunken excitement. I get out of our bed and go to the shower. Part of me wants Kevin to come into the bathroom, take me back, show me that I'm still his. I want to feel it. I want to get rid of his smell and my shame. My mind is still foggy from the alcohol, making it hard to focus on what just happened. Now I have to forgive Kevin. I took revenge, got my portion. Now we need to rebuild our family. Maybe now is the time to think about having another child. We've discussed this more than once, and maybe this is exactly what we need to become one again. But it's strange that Kevin still hasn't checked on me. I dress in comfortable clothes and remove the sheets from the bed. I walk along the corridor past the children's rooms to the dining room. Kevin is nowhere to be found. It's not in the living room either. I checked his office. Kevin is nowhere to be found. Panic begins to rise along with anger. I'm angry because Kevin should have stayed, accepted his punishment, and witnessed his humiliation. But I'm also starting to panic because I'm afraid he might have left. Perhaps I've gone too far. I go back to the dining room, and there on the table I see it. A lone envelope with my name neatly written on the front. Kevin's wedding ring rests on top, pinning it to the table. My heart skips a beat. Oh my God, what have I done? Tears are already starting to roll down my cheeks when I carefully open the envelope and find one piece of paper inside. I unfold the piece of paper, my heart beating louder every second. There are just a few lines written in Kevin's smooth and neat handwriting. My dear Denise, I understand that it was I who started the events that led us to today. You claim that you wanted to restore the balance, but you did much more than that. You destroyed it, crushing me along with it. There is no hope for us anymore, now that you are tainted by that man. You destroyed my heart, my soul, my trust. I think I could accept your cheating if it was any other guy other than Mike. That would be a fitting balance for you forgiving mine. But you decided to restore the balance with the one person I could never accept. He's not my friend. He's not your friend. He is a predator who has long been looking for an opportunity to do what you allowed him to do, destroy our lives. Your actions are unforgivable. I'll be with my mother. Next week, I will pick up what I need from home. Then I will meet with a lawyer and begin the divorce process. If you wanted this from the very beginning, all you had to do was just say it. You didn't have to destroy our future. You will always be my true love, and you will never know how much I regret putting us in this situation. With love forever. Kevin. The letter falls on the table, large tears fall behind it, staining the paper and smearing the ink. It took me less than an hour to destroy the person I love most in the world. I sink into a chair, my head is pounding. My chest heaves convulsively as I cry no, sob about my loss and my stupidity. Suddenly, an electrical impulse passes through me, causing me to jump up. I look for my purse and then my phone. Beep, beep. Hello? Kevin's voice is empty, broken, lost. I burst into incoherent sobs. Kev. Kevin. Yes. Where are you? At Mom's. What do you need, Denise? His voice is flat. Not angry, just indifferent. I'm so sorry, Kevin. Please come home. No, it won't work. It won't happen. How could you? It seems he wants to say more, but we are both overwhelmed with emotion. Listen, I need time, just like you. We'll figure out the details next week, but right now I need you to leave me alone. Can you do this? He doesn't wait for my answer. See you next week, okay? I don't know how long I sat listening to the silence. Kevin. Mom is surprised to see me when she opens the door. She did it, Mom. Oh, honey, are you sure? Yes, I heard her. I lower my head, and she takes me into her arms, cradling me, trying to soothe my tormented soul. She lets me in, and we discuss the possible future, what I should do and when. Soon I get tired. We're getting nowhere, and I head to the guest room, collapsing onto the spare bed. I'm not sure why I even answered her call. I know it's over between us. I have no idea what to do next. I realize that the center of this chaos is my fault. If I hadn't slept with Jaden, I wouldn't be here. If I hadn't confessed to Denise, I wouldn't be here. If Ellen wasn't such a man-hating bitch, I wouldn't be here. If Denise wasn't so vindictive, I wouldn't be here. I'm trying to find someone else to blame. I try to blame Mike. I try to blame the alcohol. I try to blame Denise. But everything always comes back to me. Kevin. The worst part is that James and Kelly will feel the consequences of their parents' bad decisions. My mind is restless. He hesitates between the possibility of staying with Denise for the sake of the children and the belief that we have no chance of saving the marriage. No, the only choice is to end our relationship. Crap, my anger boils over. All I can think about is revenge. The more I realize what I'm missing, the more I want to hurt Denise. Even the odds, damn them. All I want to do now is beat Ellen, Mike, and Denise to death with these damn scales. D's in. The email notification brings me back to reality. Thinking it's Denise again trying to reach me, I cautiously open my phone and see an email from Mike. It reads, I think you'll find it interesting to see how your wife operates in business. The email included a link to Mike's cloud storage. I told you I would sleep with her someday. I throw the phone across the room and remain motionless, filled with rage. At this moment, all my hatred is directed solely at Mike. He will pay dearly. I fall into a restless sleep, feeling depressed and alone. Dennis. I'm still sitting at the table, looking at my phone, which is not responding at all. I need support. I need an encouraging smile. I open my phone and text into a group chat with Ellen and Amy. Dennis 10:42. I did it. Now 10:58. Did what? Denny's 10:58. I slept with Mike, Kevin's friend. Ellen 10:59. So how? Now 10:59. You stupid fool. See 11 o'clock. It wasn't worth it. Kevin left me. Ellen 11:01. This goat. Doesn't he understand that it's his own fault? He deserved it. Now 11:02. I told you that he won't tolerate this. You didn't listen to me, and now you're alone. Damn, so what now? Ellen 11:03. Shut up, Amy. She couldn't leave it like that. She needed to bring justice. Now 11:03. Well, now justice has been restored, and she is alone. Well done, friend. Ellen 11:04. If you don't want to help, leave her alone. Now 11:04. Fuck you, Ellen. Denise, I'll come by in the morning. Ellen 11:06. Denise, I'll come to you now. Denny's 11:10. Thank you. I didn't get what I wanted from my friends. Why didn't I listen to Amy instead of Ellen? I leave the door open and go back to the bedroom. Seeing the sheets removed makes me cry again. I take a blanket from the floor, climb onto the bare mattress, and wrap myself in it. Kevin. I am woken up by the annoying ringing of the phone. It's early morning, but not too early yet. I think it's Denise who's messing with me again, but it's not her. I'm surprised to see a message from her cousin Amy asking me to call back. Amy and I are on good terms, but we rarely talk, and now I worry about what could have happened to my almost ex-wife. Hello? Amy's voice is sleepy. Amy, this is Kevin. You called. Is Denise okay? My panic is clearly audible in my voice. I hate that she's so calm when I'm sure something happened to Denise or the kids. For an idiot, everything is fine, she replies. I'm going to visit her later in the morning. I called to see how you were. How are you holding up? I breathe out a sigh of relief. We sit on the phone until my heavy breathing returns to normal. It's all a mess, Amy. You've probably heard about my casual sex. I feel depressed again. Yes, I heard. And then I heard that Denise slept with some guy last night. I can't believe she was so stupid. And I can't. She really put the nail in the coffin by sleeping with Mike. This freak even sent me a video of them having sex. No, seriously? Have you watched it? There is surprise in her voice. Yes, I sent it. I have no plans to watch it. Are you at your mother's? Yes. I'm coming to see you. I want to see this video. I hear rustling as she packs her things, getting ready to leave the house. Fine. For what? I have to see for myself that she really did it. 20 minutes later, Amy and I are sitting at my mom's dining table with cups of coffee in our hands. I open the email on my laptop, click on the link, and find myself in a folder called Bitches. I'm surprised to see 5 videos there and concerned that all of the videos are of Denise. This fool slept with him 5 times. I groan and turn away, but Amy seems to read my emotions because I hear her gasp. Damn, Kevin, she says evenly. Oh, okay, it's okay, not all Denise videos. We both breathe a sigh of relief. I look at the screen as Amy picks up her mouse and opens the first video. A close-up image fills the screen. It immediately becomes clear that this is not Denise, the wrong figure. The camera zooms out, and I see the woman's reflection in the mirror. Holy shit, this is Sarah, Mike's wife, I say. If I hadn't been so destroyed in the last 24 hours, it might even have turned me on, but not this time. Sarah is a beautiful woman, even sexy. She's not in Denise's league, but she's very attractive. Amy shifts in her seat. I think she's starting to get a little excited. She licks her lips and takes a sip of coffee without taking her eyes off the screen. I feel uncomfortable watching these videos with Amy, especially if they involve people I know, so I turn the video off. Amy clicks on the second video. It is immediately different from the first. A camera across the room shows Mike bringing another attractive woman in front of the camera for a date. I look at Amy, she shrugs, and I state the obvious. I don't know her. Me too, but I didn't expect it. I'm about to turn off the video, but Amy stops me. Wait, let's see what happens next. She holds my hand so that I don't press pause. We watched for a few minutes. I turn off the video at the third minute. Amy sighs indignantly. I look at her flushed face and her ragged breathing. Oh God, she's horny. In the next video, I immediately recognize the woman from the preview. As her face fills the screen, I exclaim. This is Krista Roberts. It sounds a little louder than I intended. Amy looks at me with confusion. This is the wife of John, my friend, and, as I thought, Mike's friend. Krista looks happy and visibly excited as she introduces herself to the camera while hugging Mike. I've always thought Krista was sexy, so seeing her like this doesn't help me calm down. I realize that watching Krista's sex tape is a bad idea because it will make me want to continue. I turn it off as soon as the seduction begins, to Amy's disappointment. The next video is of an older woman who is still quite attractive. I have an unpleasant feeling that I know her, but I can't remember where. I notice Denise's video is next. The last 4 videos were shot in the same format. The camera was mounted motionless, filming from the corner of the room. Mike seemed to have perfected his technique where it mattered. He learned to cover himself by getting the woman to identify herself and agree to be recorded. The video with Denise is made in the same format, but it is much shorter than the others. We skim through most of it to make sure she actually slept with the bastard. I grin when I hear Mike mutter something as he gets dressed. Damn right, bastard. I'll arrange it for you. Amy looked at me strangely when I cursed in the video. I take the portable hard drive out of my case and download Denise's video. How nice of them to provide me with the evidence I need for a divorce. Are you seriously going to get a divorce? Yes, Amy, I don't see how I can stay with her after this. If it had been anyone else, maybe I would have thought about it. I told her not to do it. But Ellen felt that this would restore balance and give her an advantage in the marriage. I thought so. Whose idea was it to print divorce papers? What documents for divorce? I lay out the documents I saw last night on the table. Amy and I begin to study them carefully. Kevin, I don't see the lawyer's name here, do you see? I ask, looking through the stack of documents Amy is holding. No, it's just the site URL below, she replies. I type it into Google and go to a website that offers legal forms for you to fill out yourself. After looking at the papers further, we come to the conclusion that Ellen and Denise simply bought the templates and filled them out themselves to make me feel helpless. I don't know why, but I was relieved that Denise didn't go to a lawyer to formally prepare the paperwork. I open Mike's Bitches folder again and decide to save all the videos he's uploaded in case I need to prove something. I want to tear Mike apart. He doesn't know it yet, but he himself gave me everything I needed to destroy him. Thanks, Mike, I say with a dark grin. Amy watches the files download. What are you going to do? She asks. For starters, I wonder if Sarah, Mike's wife, knows about these videos and all the women he slept with. I answer with a slight smile. Amy gets my hint. Looks like I won't be the only one getting divorced soon. I take out the flash drive to save the video of Krista. I'm not sure how he'll react, but I'm going to show it to John Roberts, Krista's husband. John is a friend of mine. We've been friends for years, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't know about this video or his wife's antics. John is a former Marine, a strong guy with a difficult character. I have no doubt that Mike will face serious punishment. Can you make me a copy of what your stupid wife, did? Amy asks. For what? I don't know why Amy wants to watch her best friend have sex with that bastard. I want to show this idiot what she looks like in the video. She obviously won't like it, especially the way her butt looks, she replies. I can hardly contain my laughter. Denise has always felt complex about her figure. I insert another flash drive and save Denise's video to it for Amy. Amy, go to Denise, but please don't mention the other 4 videos. She's had enough of her show and tell routine. I think her ignorance of the other entries may work to my advantage. We said goodbye and she left. I was left alone with my thoughts, self-pity, and thirst for revenge. Dennis. I wake up in Ellen's arms in my otherwise empty bed. I did what you said, and he left me, I say, feeling the tears come again. You said he would beg me to come back, you said. The dam breaks, and I start crying. He will return. If he really loves you, he'll come back and do whatever you want, she consoles, holding me closer. What if he doesn't come back? I bury my face in her chest while she tries to put my pieces back together. So he doesn't love you the way he should. You didn't do anything wrong. I raise my head and look into her eyes. How stupid are you? I cheated on my husband. You didn't change, he did. You just restored the balance. The balance doesn't seem all that equal, I reply, standing up and heading to the bathroom. I take a shower and find something to wear. By the time I get to the kitchen, Amy is already having coffee with Ellen. Amy, please don't start. I already feel terrible, I beg. I bet it's no worse than Kevin, she retorts. Have you seen Kevin? I'm surprised and angry at the same time. My marriage has not yet cooled down, and this snake is already trying to take my husband away. Yes, I contacted him this morning to see how he was. He's pretty bad, FYI. Did you know that bastard Mike sent him a video of you having sex? You let him film it. Ellen shouts, entering the conversation for the first time. You're missing. He'll definitely use it in court. Denise, you have no idea how much you're in trouble. Mike will show this video to anyone just to humiliate Kevin, Amy adds. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking clearly, I apologize pathetically. It's obvious, Amy says. We continue to argue, discussing how the video will ruin Kevin even more than I already did and what it will do to my reputation. We are discussing a possible divorce and its consequences for the children. Amy asks about the divorce papers, and Ellen and I admit that we downloaded templates from the internet and filled them out creatively. We wanted Kevin to feel helpless. Amy, did Kevin say what he was going to do? He mentioned divorce in the note, but over the phone he said he needed time. He didn't say anything definite. I think divorce is quite possible, she replies. Then, after a moment, he adds, I just don't understand how you could think this was a good idea. Dennis, that wasn't my original plan. I was going to meet Mike at Tap and Q, have a couple of cocktails, and then let the rumors of me being on a date spread to give Kevin his imagination. But then Mike started saying that Kevin has been cheating on me for many years, and this is not the first time, I admit, avoiding looking Amy in the eyes. I told you so, Ellen interjects, but is interrupted by Amy's deafening scream. Nuo, hell no, he lied to you to get you into bed, and you fell for it. She literally pokes her finger in my face, jumps up, and starts pacing back and forth, nervously shaking her head. I know he kept buying me drinks, talking sweetly, and then I ended up in bed with him, I answered in a quiet voice. Denise, I love you, but sometimes you're such a stupid cow, Amy snaps, stopping in front of the table. Her gaze is full of contempt. I've never been afraid of Amy before, but now she looks like she could kill me. Her tone pierces right through me. I know I ruined everything, but the look on her face makes me realize the full extent of the loss. The tears begin to flow again. Hey, Ellen tries to stand up for me. And you stupid bitch, Amy turns to Ellen with fury in her eyes. How could you advise your best friend to ruin her life even more? You deserve everything that awaits you. With these words, she leaves, slamming the door. Ellen and I continue to talk, and I begin to realize how twisted she perceives everything. I can't believe I listened to her. I've been feeling depressed since Ellen left. I text Kevin, telling him how much I love him and how sorry I am. He replies, "Me too. This doesn't solve anything." Kevin, I'm just surviving. I exist in constant confusion. I'm torn between destroying my wife and forgiving her, but every time I come to the point of forgiving, I look at the computer and remember the video. And then everything comes back to the thought of revenge. Morning brings a difficult conversation with your boss. I need to take a week off to get my affairs in order. The first item on my list is a lawyer. I'm making an appointment with a lawyer later this week to explore my options. I text John and make an appointment for a late lunch. I'm not yet sure how to explain everything, but I know that it is necessary. I think honesty is the best approach. We met at a small diner on the outskirts of town. We sat down in the booth. You look terrible, John smiles. I feel even worse, and it will only get worse. I don't like it. I screwed up, John. I had a casual hookup in Texas. I confessed to Denise, and she got her revenge by sleeping with Mike Killian. This can't be. Dude, I'm so sorry. Yes, this bastard also recorded everything on video and sent me a link. I watch his face, trying to find the courage to continue. There was another one in the video folder, John. No. It was strange, the pain in this big man's voice. He sounded tense and an octave higher than usual. It seemed he already knew. I'm afraid so. It was Krista. I put the flash drive in the middle of the table. John just shakes his head. No, no, no. Tell me it's a sick joke. I'm afraid not. To convince him, I turn on the laptop, insert the flash drive, and open the video with Krista's performance. Anger instantly appears on his face, and I begin to get nervous. I'm just a facilitator, not a culprit, but I'm afraid John won't share these roles. We sit in silence, staring at Krista's frozen face on the screen until my computer goes to sleep. I'll kill them. It sounded cold and even. I understand, I feel the same. But in my case, I started this storm myself. Denise only added fuel to the fire, and now divorce is the only outcome. Are you divorcing her? Yes, I think so. We look at each other silently. Besides killing them, what else are you thinking about? The first thing that comes to mind is divorce. I'm sure Mike isn't the only one she slept with. That's probably why she didn't want to start a family, at least with me. Can I ask you a favor, John? Ask. Can you not take any action against Mike for now until I figure out what to do? Why? What are you up to? I want to show his wife the files from his cloud. Let him know what he is doing. Fine. I'll wait until Sunday. Are you still going to Will's barbecue? Yes. Then get your affairs in order by then. Mike will be there, and I'm afraid he'll be in for a nasty surprise. Don't do anything stupid, John. Going to jail won't solve anything, even if Mike ends up in the hospital. No promises. John takes the flash drive out of my laptop and leaves the diner. As I watch him leave, I think, I wouldn't want to be in Mike's shoes right now. The day is not over yet. I'm stopping by Mike's house. I'm glad he's not home yet, although I didn't expect to see him. But Sarah is there. The conversation goes as expected. She doesn't believe me, but I open her the bitches folder on Mike's cloud. Her body tenses, her lips compress, and I see the tension in her shoulders. Now she is definitely convinced. She seems more angry about her own video in the folder and the fact that she is listed there as one of the bitches. As we watch the video, she recognizes the second woman, her best friend. He also recognizes Krista and Denise, but the fourth video causes shock. This is Wendy, Mike's father's third wife. Oh, of course. I thought she was familiar to me, but I only saw her a couple of times at parties. What a bastard. I'll leave him as quickly as possible. I have heard rude guys swear, But the stream of curses that escaped the lips of this petite and neat woman made me understand that she was truly furious. This bastard will ruin at least 5 marriages. Next, I follow my steps one by one. I suspected he was cheating again, she continued. All the signs pointed to it, but I had no proof. Now there is. She pushed me out of my chair and started attaching a video of my stepmother to the email. Wait, what are you doing? His father and mother are now on safari in Africa. I want to ruin his vacation. He's just as much of an asshole as Mike. I'm not ready to set him up yet, I begged her. Don't worry, they have a bad connection there. They won't see this letter until next week when they return to town. Mike won't know that I contacted his dad because he never uses that email address. Oh damn, the video is too big to attach. Do you have a flash drive? We copy the video to a flash drive, and it takes a screenshot of the file location with a miniature image of Wendy. She attaches a photo to the letter with a note that the full video of her son, sleeping with his new wife, will be waiting for them when they return. I also made her promise not to show the video to Mike until next week. She agrees as she wants to start the divorce process before confronting him. She also copies a video of her ex-best friend onto a flash drive. I know it will be unpleasant too. By this time, it is late evening on a lousy Monday. Ding. Denise 1642. Will you come to the children today? Kevin 1646. Not today. Denise 1646. They need to see you. I know she's right, but after today, I just don't have the strength. After all the time I've spent admitting my mistake and dealing with what Denise did, I don't want to see her. I'm angry. I'm furious. I can't stand it anymore. Kevin 1650. I know you're right. I need a little time. I promise to come tomorrow evening and all other days of the week. Will that suit you? Denise 1654. Looks like I'll have to. It could have gone better. I'm on my way to my mom's when I get another message. I put my phone down until I parked at her house. Denise 1706. Sorry, Kevin. It's been a really hard weekend. I was hoping to see you today. If nothing else, I just wanted to be in the same room with you. Sorry. Kevin 1711. Sorry. Can I call you tonight? Denise 1711. Yes. Kevin 1713. Later. At 7. Denise 1714. Okay, thank you. Mom has already prepared dinner. We eat and discuss the day. She's not happy with my decisions, but she supports me no matter what. Her only condition is that no one gets hurt. I tell her that I won't hurt anyone, but Mike has a lot of enemies. She reminds me that without me, they wouldn't know anything. I shrugged. They chose their fate themselves, Mother. It's after 7 now, and I'm calling Denise. She seemed relieved. Hello, I began. I know she's mad at me now, but I don't have good feelings for her either. Hello, I missed you today. Sorry, I had a few things to do this afternoon. How are the children? Fine. They know something is wrong, but they don't ask many questions yet. How are you coping with all this? Well, I don't like it, Denise, but I know it's my fault. I miss you, and I can't describe how much I'm sorry and how much I wish I could make things right. I feel tears growing in my chest, and I'm about to cry. Quiet sobbing can be heard on the other end of the line. I know she feels as guilty as I do. Only the last month, she laughs tensely. There is so much in the past that I love. Remember that trip to Cancun? Yes, I don't remember everything, of course, but I remember that tiny bikini that you wore. I still have the photo on my desk. It attracts a lot of attention. Oh God, really? Yes, seriously. When I'm having a bad day, I look at her and remember that trip and the nights we spent together. I loved those nights. Yes, that was before our children ruined my body. You can hear from her tone that she also remembers those nights. Children begin to make noise in the background, and she interrupts. I have to go. I need to put these robbers to bed. Will you come over for dinner tomorrow? Yes, I will come. Sadness creeps into my voice again, but I know I have to let it go. Do you promise? I promise. I feel like she doesn't want to hang up. Good memories come to mind. I'm sure she does too. I take the initiative and switch off. Dennis. The days drag on, and the nights are even longer. I feel lost without Kevin. I don't like what I see in my future. I was so sad when he didn't come to the children, and probably even sadder that I didn't see him myself. After his call, I was left thinking about better times. The trip to the beach, how caring Kevin was during Jane's birth, and all the little things and important moments that might not last. My heart is full of emotions: fear, joy, loneliness, and happiness. I was glad my husband called. I didn't want to hang up. I wanted to fall asleep listening to his voice on the other end of the line. We both felt so alone and lost. I haven't spoken to Amy since Saturday, and Ellen's calls and texts have stopped returning. I know what I did was wrong. I know it was my choice, but human nature makes us look for someone to blame for our failures. That's what I did to Ellen. I blamed her for my mistakes. If she hadn't come up with such a ridiculous idea, I would never have allowed myself to be vulnerable in front of Mike. I knew what I did was wrong. I knew it was my fault, but I just couldn't admit it out loud. I also knew that Amy would only rub my nose in my mistakes, so I avoided her. Plus, I think she was angry at me for what I did. Every evening when Kevin was in the house, my mood lifted significantly. I appreciated his help with the children, and our quiet conversations gave me hope, although deep down I knew that hope was not realistic. How can he forgive me for the way I treated him? I also knew that if he hadn't cheated first, we wouldn't be in this situation, but lately that didn't seem to matter. Why did everything turn out to be my fault? I knew the answer. Kevin. Thursday was the day to visit the lawyer. I spent 2 hours in his office filling out paperwork and accepting a future I didn't want. We came to a standard agreement on equal division of all assets. I agreed to waive all claims on the house and pay a monthly fee to help with the mortgage and other expenses, as well as a reasonable amount for child support. My lawyer said this could have been avoided because child support was a thing of the past in our state, but that wasn't the case. Since I knew that our situation was my fault, I felt that I should be punished. Self-imposed punishment seemed most appropriate. I proposed joint custody of the children so that we would both be responsible for raising them. The lawyer said it would be a difficult discussion, but that didn't bother me. In the long term, I knew this was the right decision for our fractured family. Now the housing issue has been resolved. Amy helped me find a nice condo a few blocks from Denise's house. Denise is home, I thought. I have already begun to get used to the idea that this is no longer our home, but only hers. I wonder if this can be called progress. That evening at dinner, the conversation took a dark turn. We settled down on the couch after putting the kids to bed. Denise, you should know that today I visited a lawyer. I started filling out the paperwork to file for divorce. I saw a shadow appear on her face and realized that a storm was ahead of me. And I was right. Well, you didn't waste any time, did you? She turned to me, lowered her chin to look up at me, and glared at me. Her words were spoken slowly and clearly to let me know how badly I had just messed things up. The emphasis she placed on the word "you" made me realize that she blamed me entirely for this situation. We both knew it was a logical outcome. We were probably doomed to this from the moment I slept with Jaden. I was going to forgive you for that. I have already forgiven. Her words pierced me like a knife. Is that why you slept with Mike? Now I was angry, and my voice reflected it. A great way to forgive a guy. It was a mistake, just like you're sleeping with her. If I could forgive you for this, you should forgive me for Mike too. Denise, no matter how painful and humiliating it would be for you to find out that I cheated, only you and I would know about it. Yes, I deeply disrespected you with my actions, and yes, I destroyed your trust. But you didn't make a mistake like me. You deliberately decided to do the same thing as me. The difference is huge. This is what lawyers call malicious intent. I continued to explain why I think our relationship is hopeless. What you did was deliberate, planned, and executed to inflict maximum pain and humiliation. You and Ellen may have evened the scales, but you went further and tried not only to deprive me of respect, but to completely crush me. You made me question my masculinity, my ability to be a husband and a father. I have never felt so depressed. Never. I fell silent, waiting for an answer from her. Tears were already streaming down her cheeks, which she carefully wiped away with a napkin. "We can get over this, with time," Denise muttered through choked sobs. "Don't think. Perhaps we could be together for a while, but the mistrust between us will only grow. This will destroy our relationship to such an extent that we will begin to hate each other and will not be able to create a stable environment for our children. I found an apartment nearby and I can move in first," I continued. "I propose joint custody of the children and raising them together. I love you too much to keep hurting you." Denise just sat there and looked at me, continuing to wipe away the tears that were streaming down her face. "I think it's time for you to leave," she said coldly and emotionlessly. I stood up, collected my things, and headed towards the door. For the past few evenings, Denise has walked me to the door, lingering as if expecting me to kiss her goodbye. Today, she remained sitting on the sofa, facing away from me, while I opened the door. "Kevin," she called. I turned to her. "I still want you to come for dinner tomorrow. I'm not ready to be a single mother." "I'll come. Sorry." "Me too." It was almost a whisper. I barely caught her words before I closed the door behind me. "Dennis, I see how much I broke Kevin, almost as much as he broke me." His message that he had begun to file for divorce only confirmed this. He already rents an apartment nearby. That was the last sign I needed to know it was truly over. Now it's time to start thinking about what I want out of this divorce and what I want my future relationship with Kevin to be like. How did my life turn into chaos so quickly? Kevin. I spend the evenings with Denise and the children. We maintain an easy dialogue, although we both know that our time together is coming to an end. Denise finally realized the cost of her actions, just as I realized that my actions led to this. Sometimes I hate Jadden, Denise, Mike, and Ellen equally, but ultimately I realized that the real hate should be directed at myself. This didn't make things any easier. Sunday morning brought barbecue day at Will's. I was nervous knowing that there would be a confrontation between me, John, and Mike. I got dressed and bought a standard case of beer on the way. When I walked in, I was amazed to see Krista sitting in the living room while everyone else was in the backyard. Her eyes were puffy from crying, and she was clearly ashamed. I realized that John had already talked to her. "Hello, Krista. How are you?" I asked, immediately realizing how stupid my question sounded. Krista confirmed this with a look. "Why did you give him this video?" "He needed to know, Krista. I'm sorry that this had to be done through me. Why did you give in to that bastard Killian?" She looked at me blankly, as if it was my fault that she went to bed with him. "Do you know that he is going to come here today?" "I know. Why did you come?" "John showed me the video and in the morning announced that he was filing for divorce. He said it would be easier for me if I came with him." Beautiful, but definitely not far-fetched, I thought. John wanted her here to embarrass her, but that's none of my business. "Denise isn't there?" "No. Denise is done. We're getting a divorce too because she couldn't resist that idiot." I joined the group in the yard, trying to take my mind off what was happening. Soon Mike came in with a smug smile. Mike walked through the back gate and straight into the yard with a smug smile. This bastard. I moved closer to John, preparing myself for what would happen next, when Mike walked straight towards us. "Hello, gentlemen," he began, raising his hands as if trying to calm a brewing storm. "Before you hit me, let me tell you a story." What kind of idiot? Does he really want to anger John even more? He didn't wait for either of us to answer and continued. "On Wednesday evening, I had an interesting conversation with my future ex-wife. She couldn't seem to contain her anger that I slept with her best friend. Looking at me, he added, 'She told me about that nice conversation you had, Kevin. Of course, I wasn't going to share all these videos with you, but you didn't have to be an asshole and give them to her.' I took a step towards Mike, but John blocked my path. How dare he call me a bastard? It suddenly dawned on me how calm Mike was, even though he knew he was about to be beaten. "What are you up to, Mike? You always want to get straight to the point, don't you, Kevin?" "Well, you guys remember my worthless nerd cousin Simon? That wasn't a question. Well, it turns out he's a pretty good hacker. He's been hacking Krista and Denise's work emails for the past few days, and he's also created an untraceable website for me. For reference, the link to the video of your favorite wives should be sent from their mail. He glanced at his watch. Right now. He drew out the last word for effect. Numerous notification beeps immediately rang out. Something flashed to my right, and I barely had time to grab John's hand as he was about to strike. John lifted me off the ground, but I managed to keep him from hitting the laughing idiot. And then we all heard the piercing squeal of the sliding door and saw how beautifully someone hit Mike in the crotch. Apparently, she also received this letter. John broke free from my grip, weakened by surprise. John hit Mike. I tried to pull John away, but I didn't have enough leverage to move him, and in the end, I just left him because the damage was already done. After the others in the crowd finished watching the video they were sent and realized what was happening, they joined Will in pulling John off of Mike. Someone called an ambulance and police arrived after paramedics reported the attack. The police led John out of the party in handcuffs. Krista sat in her chair, crying and continuing to check which of her contacts the link had been sent to. They seemed to be relatives, friends, and mostly colleagues and bosses. Finally, she turned off the phone. Too many people responded to her letter. I sat down next to Krista. She leaned on my shoulder and cried. It was around this time that I remembered he mentioned wives. I picked up my phone to call Denise, but the call went straight to voicemail. Crap, Denise. I was spending a quiet Sunday morning with the kids when my phone notified me of a new email. I was surprised that I received a letter to my personal email from my work account. I saw the link attached, clicked on it, and collapsed in my chair as my video with Mike started. My phone started ringing and vibrating incessantly, probably from people with questions about the link that I didn't have answers to, so I just turned it off. The home phone rang. I thought it was my relatives calling because they were the only ones who had this number. I answered it was Kevin. Did you receive a letter from yourself? Yes. Did you do this? No, this is Mike. He sent another one from Krista's email. He had his cousin hack your work email and send the link to all your contacts. I realized that this would be a disaster for me. Compared to Krista, who was just a personal assistant, I am a financial advisor to a nationally renowned company and have much more responsibility. Oh my God, Kevin, this is for all my colleagues and clients. Oh God, I muttered, bursting into tears. It dawned on me how much I was in trouble. I was sure that my revenge had just cost me my job. I was devastated. Kevin asked if I wanted him to come, and of course I did. I needed a friendly face, whoever it was. Kevin arrived and was as caring as always. He held me in his arms and let me cry. He didn't say, "I told you so," or add more pain to what I was already going through. I remembered why I fell in love with this man, and I could not understand why I treated him so poorly at a time when I could have shown respect, honor, and love. If I had done this, I would not be facing career ruin now. I cried. He consoled me. Dennis, a lot has happened in the last 6 months. I actually lost my job because of that email sent from my account. The letter that ended my career was sent to all the clients I worked with. Some of them were managing millions of dollars in accounts, and the company suffered huge losses locally. The general view was that if I couldn't control my personal life, how could I manage their finances? And it was difficult to argue with this. When our divorce was finalized, Kevin was living in his own apartment, and we shared custody of the children. He has been incredibly supportive over the past months, helping with the mortgage, some living expenses, and staying involved in our children's lives. Looking back, I realized that I deserve it the least. I couldn't find a job in the area, so I expanded my search to neighboring cities and eventually took a job about 300 miles away in a neighboring state. Kevin and I put the house on the market, and I promised to pay back the money he had lent me over the past months. It was a sad end to a happy chapter of my life. Ami and Ellen decided not to communicate with me anymore. I myself contributed to the breakup with Ellen, but losing Ami was extremely painful for me. The hardest part about leaving was the decision to leave my children with their father. I knew Kevin was a great father and would take good care of our children. I simply could not take them with me, since I did not yet have permanent housing in a new place. This will be a tearful farewell. Kevin. It wasn't easy for Denise or me. She couldn't find a job until now, and when she did, it was in another state. I helped her as much as I could. Everything was going great at my new job, and now that I was James and Kelly's primary caregiver, I no longer had to travel. Apart from my success at work, my life was a complete nightmare. I often found myself completely overwhelmed and depressed. Every morning I got up, took care of the children, went to work, came home, took care of the children in the evening, went to bed, only to have it all happen again the next day. It seemed like I was in some kind of trance when the days merged into one another. I ruined 4 lives with my reckless betrayal. I stopped blaming Denise and accepted that my current situation was entirely my fault and that I deserved everything that happened to me. Very few of the participants in this Mike's sexual fiasco, as we began to call the incident, escaped the consequences. John was arrested and charged with assaulting Mike. He initially faced a charge of first-degree assault, but he was able to make a deal and received a second-degree charge, agreeing to 5 years in prison. John and Krista got divorced, and we all learned that her affair with Mike was only one of 3 she had had over the past year. Krista lost her job as an assistant and now works as a saleswoman at a local Target. She couldn't cope with the stigma that resulted from her affairs with Mike. Many of her former acquaintances downloaded evidence of how good she is in bed, which clearly did not help her reputation. Nobody wanted a serious relationship with her. Due to her low self-esteem and fear that the only way to get a man interested was to sleep with him, she gained a reputation as an approachable woman. Every weekend she had someone new. Sarah's divorce from Mike was only the beginning of his problems. The consequences of his clash with the Roberts, John, and Krista were long-lasting for him. The recovery from Krista's attack on him was long and painful. We all kept this quiet in our statements to the police, and John took full responsibility. Mike was unable to contradict our versions. John truly loved his wife and saw no reason for her to be in prison with him. The Robertses lost everything they held dear. Mike has lost his only advantage, his looks. Within weeks, police were able to link the cousin to the email hack and video site. He quickly turned Mike in exchange for a reduced sentence. Mike fled the city before his arrest and, from what I hear, is now living on the streets of Portland, evading the police and a prison sentence. If the police had been able to quickly connect him to the burglary, he would not have had time to escape. Of course, the site was quickly deleted, but the damage to all participants had already been done. Sarah got everything in the divorce because Mike didn't show up for the hearing or contest it. After selling the house, she moved back to her hometown to start a new life. As far as I know, she never saw Mike again after he was released from the hospital. Mike's father divorced his 3rd wife immediately after Sarah provided him with a video of her cheating with Mike. Mike's father was a fairly wealthy man, so to top it all off, he disinherited Mike. Kevin. It was too early for me to even think about dating anyone. The only times I left the house were to take Denise and the kids out for dinner. We had pleasant conversations, but we both understood that too much had happened between us to even think about reconciliation. I think that hurt Denise the most, except perhaps when she said goodbye to our children, got into the car and drove off into the sunset. 18 months had passed since the Mike sexual fiasco, and life had gradually settled into routine. For some reason, Denise hardly sees the children, and I have become a single father who puts his children first in everything. I started dating again, and one of my first dates was meeting Ami. We had a great time and got along well, but after a few weeks, it became obvious that she wanted more than I could offer her. I just couldn't give her what she needed. Ami and I remained friends, but now I only see her at family events with Denise's relatives, where I bring the children. She gave me back the flash drive with Denise's video. Ami planned to show it to her family, but Mike beat her to it. I appreciate her support throughout this whole ordeal, but I couldn't bring myself to fall in love with her again. Dennis. Since all this started, I'm already on my third job. My last job was again in financial planning, but only in a junior role. My sexy video followed me there. Everyone I interacted with, clients or colleagues, thought I was an easy target. But that's not true. I don't date men and am becoming increasingly lonely. Today, I'm leaving for a new job in another state, 800 miles from my children. I will work as a personal assistant in a small private company. Its leader is an elderly widower whose wife died in a car accident. He knew about my difficulties and agreed to hire me. I've fallen so low. I was once a successful woman, happily married, working in the male-dominated finance industry, and now I'm a secretary. I no longer see my children and recently signed papers giving full custody to Kevin. He brought them to me once, and I couldn't love him more for it. I did ruin my life, but not as much as Ellen ruined hers. A few months ago, Ami and I started talking again, and she told me what happened with Ellen. Ellen was on a date with a married man when his wife walked into the bar. A verbal altercation broke out between them, and the woman pushed Ellen. She lost her balance in her 6-inch heels, fell and hit her head. She was rushed to the hospital. On her first night, she developed a blood clot, which led to a stroke that paralyzed the entire right side of her body. She is now undergoing rehabilitation, but will never be able to walk again and will not regain full functionality of her right arm and leg. Her parents took her home and are now caring for their adult daughter. Dennis, I've been working in my assistant position for a little over a year and barely make enough to support myself. That's why I don't even think about inviting the children over. Kevin offered to bring them, but I refused. I didn't want him to see me in this state. I've gained weight and can't afford the little things that made me feel good. I started dating my boss, Dennis. He is older than me, but he treats me well. This is not love, but he is dear to me and he cares about me. It seems that I have finally gotten rid of my scandalous past. I think it helps that I now use my middle name and maiden name. My name is now Lynn McMurray. I have lost so much in recent years: my pride, my humanity, and most importantly, the love of my life. This is what I regret most. No one here knows me except as Dennis' girlfriend. Maybe I can finally stop running away and build a new life here. Kevin. Denise Lynn sinks deeper and deeper into despair and into a hole from which she cannot escape. We talk regularly after her calls to the children. She's dating someone now, but she still misses the life she once had. So do I. I can't help the fact that I'm still deeply in love with her. The children feel how hard it is for me after every conversation we have. 6 months ago, we transferred an employee from our California branch, and it turned out it was Jaden. She divorced her unfaithful husband a year ago and decided to start over with a clean slate. As it turned out, our evening together several years ago was the result of her desperation. Then she learned that her husband had cheated on her several times during their 5 years of marriage. At first, we avoided each other. She heard what happened to my marriage and rightly assumed that it had something to do with our night. But eventually she came to me and we both apologized for what happened between us. Jaden became the purchasing manager and we worked closely together at work. It's funny how things work in life. I began to feel more and more attracted to her, and I saw that she reciprocated my feelings. We started with work lunches, which then grew into several dinners and going to corporate events together. We talked a lot about trust and betrayal. We both swore that the night we spent together was the only time either of us cheated on our spouses. Our mistrust and past became obvious every time one of us got jealous over little things, like smiling at someone at a party or office event. I couldn't help feeling suspicious if she didn't answer the phone right away. I knew it was stupid and related to my insecurities. I guess this is the life of a cheater. It took us about 3 months for our relationship to become more stable, but it happened. The children adore her, as do I. I so missed having a partner in my life again. One evening, after a wonderful dinner, we were walking along the riverbank. I kept the little box in my pocket the whole time, trying to work up the courage. Finally, I stopped, looked into her eyes, and said, "Jaden, These last few months have been some of the best months of my life. I knew I had feelings for you from the moment we met many years ago. I think that's why we both did something that was completely out of character for us. I looked into her eyes, got down on one knee, and took out the box. Jaden, you will do me honor. Yes. Oh my God, yes, Kevin. I'm in the delivery room holding my beautiful newborn daughter while her equally beautiful mother sleeps. As incredible as it may sound, two people who once cheated on their spouses were able to find love again. We talk about everything, all the time. We are both trying to do everything to prevent history from repeating itself. Yes, sometimes we have trust issues, but we have learned to discuss them positively. It took a while, but the love I feel for Jaden has completely eclipsed anything I've ever felt before, even in the best of times with Denise. We both have scars from our past, and sometimes life isn't easy. When I look back, I often laugh at what can only be called karma. So many lives have been ruined and changed simply because I got drunk and couldn't resist a beautiful woman. But of course, everyone makes their own choice. I took responsibility for my mistake and was prepared to face the consequences. It was Denise who decided to balance the scales so that they could no longer be restored. The only real victims here are James and Kelly, two children who lost the mother in their lives due to their parents' actions. I work every day to undo the damage he caused. Jaden is a wonderful stepmother who tries her best to love them, but at the end of the day, she is not their mother. I don't know what the future will be like. All I can do is live the life I created, one day at a time. Denise Lynn. Now I live with Dennis. I heard that Kevin married the same woman who ruined our lives. I don't talk to Kevin anymore and only occasionally talk to the kids. My life is here now. Dennis said we won't get married, but he takes care of me and I'm as happy as I deserve. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one.